Hey guys, it's Coach K. I just started playing again, so please join me for today's game where I turned a double question mark move into a brilliant attack. So I started with e4, e5, and we're just going to go down to a normal like Italian game. And I've been teaching a lot to my daughter who just turned 5 and is learning how to play. So I've been teaching her this opening because you're following along all the principles of developing in the center, bringing all your pieces out, trying to get castled, and it's just very kind of it's easy to play and develop all your pieces. So here he plays a4. So we have to look out for this threat of a5 trapping my bishop. So I play a5. I know you can also play a6 as well. This is an idea, but I play a5 here. And after b5, knight e7, he decides to take on e6. So the nice thing about having a pawn on e6, it controls some central squares. And the bad thing about having a pawn, oh, I have double pawns here, and which can become a target in the future. So he tries to target my pawn immediately with queen b3, and after queen d7 to defend the pawn, he tries to attack immediately with knight to g5. So he's attacking this twice, and it's actually kind of hard to defend that square for now. So I decided to play d5. And so d5 is apparently a mistake, and apparently I had a nice little idea with h6, and this is a kind of a fancy trick, but if he takes on e6 now with the knight, then I have d5 now. And it looks like I'm just kind of losing my queen side, or my king side here with knight takes g7, but after king f5, or king f7, knight f5, knight takes f5, I actually emerge with a very nice central control and a decent position. So instead of doing that, I just decided to play d5 immediately, preventing him from taking on e6. So castles, and then I decided to play h6. King is knight away. Knight back to f3, attacking e5, so I play knight g6. Now he captures, and after captures, rook e1. And so the main thing that I had to worry about here is really my king in the center. So I don't mind giving up this pawn because I'll also have a lot of tactics on this f2 square. So I decided to castle. And he can't really take on e5 immediately just because I can, for one, take here. And then after take, I can take on f2. And I have like knight g4 tricks. So he can't do that. So he decides to play bishop a3, which is a good move. And I play rook e8. Now, in a lot of these lines, I can play knight g4, and there's a lot of tactics here, but in a 3-minute game, it's very hard to calculate all these lines. So I decided just to put my rook on e8 and bolster the central pawn and keep developing my pieces. So these pawns on the king side will always be potentially tender. So after rook e8, d4, e5, or e4, knight e5, takes, rook takes e5. I decide to get my king off the diagonal immediately with king h8. So, like I said, there's always a lot of tactics potentially on these squares, but in a 3-minute game, it's very difficult to calculate. So I just decided to get my king off this diagonal, so I don't have to worry about any discoveries down the road. So king h8, c takes d5, rook d8. So again, knight g4 is probably very strong here. But I decided just to centralize my last piece into the game. Maybe perhaps better might have been rook e8 if I was going to centralize my rook. But I decided rook d8 instead. And so this is where we get some double question marks. We exchange double question mark moves. So d6 is double question mark, c takes d6 is double question mark. But that leads to a brilliant attack. So after knight c4, there is a fork on this bishop on b6 and my rook on e5. So one way you could maybe potentially defend is maybe just moving your bishop somewhere and sacrificing your rook. But I decide to play queen e6 instead. And the idea is that I have a pin here. So he can't take on b6 or e5 immediately. And the next point will be shown in the game after queen a2. I have rook g5. And now the idea is just to sacrifice this bishop and get a large attack against the king. So he takes up the challenge and takes on b6. And after queen h3, he tries to play f4. And after a passant here, g3. So already, this is very dangerous for white, and I probably already have a sacrifice on g3, but I decided to play knight g4 instead. And after rook f1, rook f8, rook f2, there is a very nice move here, and I'll let you have a second to try to find it. And so that move is knight takes h2. And we're basically just destroying his whole kingside structure here. So he decides to take on h2. He could defend better with bishop takes d6, but instead he took on h2, queen takes g3. And then the last move that needs to be played here is f2. And f2 is a really nice move. It cuts off the defense of the queen. And I also threaten checkmate on g1 and f3, and also queen f1. So he can't stop all these checkmates at the same time. So he plays queen b1, and after queen b1, I played queen f3, and he resigns because after rook takes g2, this is checkmate. So thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the game. Talk to you at the next one.